And we are back. You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, and this is the #1 talk business show in the entire state, certainly in all the villes. I mean, from Statesville all the way to Huntersville. And we only have the best of the best, and today is no exception. We have Palash Desai. He is the founder and owner of The Organic Maids of Charlotte. Palash, we have been talking about an article you put together, and we're kind of on phase 3 of that, are we not?
We are, and we have put together 12 or 13 points on how to build, I call it a lucrative $1 million business, and you call it building a highly profitable multi-million-dollar business, and they're all the same principles to get to the same point.
Yes.
I mean, they all work together very well. The first week we talked about, know why you're in the business and getting out of your own way. Last week we talked about, time management and stop wasting your time, and then the fourth point was knowing what you're not going to do, which is really about strategy. The first point we're going to talk about today, which is actually number 5, is setting goals that drive results. And this, to me, is the hardest one of all.
I'm so happy to hear a smart guy like you say that, because I think setting goals is also very hard.
Well, setting
if you
goals
do
is easy.
It well,
yeah.
It is very hard, because either it's a goal that takes years or you shortchange yourself. So I thought it was just me that thought that way. So I'm happy to hear you say that.
It really is a key aspect of success, and it's what it does that it forces the owner to look at things like take stock of what's happening in the company. What are your real priorities? And then what is it personally? This is something that people miss. What is it personally important for the business owner? Like, what is it like about your own lifestyle, and what does that company mean to you, and how are you going to set the goals to make that happen? And so when I was in corporate America, we used to say set goals using the SMART acronym. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based, meaning that time-based, you have to have like some sort of timeline associated with them. And we'll go there real quickly, but the common goals you can set for example, it could be on revenue, profit, employee recruitment. But the other thing I like to talk about is like, what is your quality of life going to be? How many online reviews do you want? How many networking meetings do you want to attend? How many books have you read? I mean, these are all things that are also part of the goals, because you have to include your personal life into it, because this is a small business, and a large percentage of us go into this for some sort of quality of life.
And let me be clear, it is personal, right? Business is personal.
Especially small business, yes.
Even though the Godfather wants to separate the two, I'm here to tell you.
It's personal.
It's personal, right? That's right.
And so we talked, and it can be a mix of short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals that you can have. But whatever they are, you have to follow the SMART acronym that I said before. You have to be specific. How many times have you heard, when you're trying to sell a business, how much do you want to sell it for? As much money as possible. Well, that's not specific enough. You have to say, I want to sell it for $500,000, $700,000, $200,000, something like that.
Right.
Be very specific. They have to be measurable. Whatever goal you have, it can't be something fluffy like, employees are happier. You have to have some sort of thing that is measurable.
A goal cannot be fluffy.
That's right.
I like that.
You can't manage it unless you measure it, unless it's measurable, right? In some sort of way.
So a goal has to be measurable.
That's exactly right.
For it to be helpful.
Right. So if you're saying, I want my employees to be happier, you can set surveys and say, okay, this is where we are right now. And you can have surveys after you've done your set your goals and you've done your implementations. That's measurable. But to say something, I want them to be happier, is not specific enough. They have to be attainable. You can't say, I want to be $1 million business in 1 year. It's not going to happen. It's just too many things going on. So they have to be also relevant. Don't set goals that are, fluffy, that don't really help the company.
So would you, and I didn't have this as I was growing my business years ago, because a coach was like a rare thing back. Matter of fact, I don't even know that there was such a thing, right? It might have been happening, and I might have had some mentors, but I sure wouldn't have called him a coach at the time. But do you think you need somebody to help you set these goals? Because this thing about attainable and reachable is this question. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Because every time I see a guy like you say this, I think of one of my biggest mistakes in life. I remember my goal because I'm a goal-oriented guy, right? I'm the guy that puts a list by my bed before I go to bed, right?
Right.
I'm that guy, right? I remember my goal was I wanted a home on the lake and a Cadillac in the garage. Now, listen, when you're a middle-class kid, right, you know what I mean? Not too bright, barely make it out of high school, that's a nice goal. But when I reached that goal before 30, everything stopped. So the goal was actually too small.
Right.
And so that's the problem with me setting a goal. I'm afraid I either go too far and I want to conquer the world, or the Cadillac in the garage is really, at the time, it didn't seem small, right? But it was a small goal.
So, you're kind of stealing my thunder.
Oh,
so because point number six
spectacular
was about coaching. But so let me just get this real quick. Goals are not etched in stone. Okay, they're a point of measuring how you've done. It's not about how much you've attained. It's a lot about how much you've grown since you've come. And just because you got your Cadillac doesn't mean that you can't change your goal from their own point. We all evolve. We all learn. We all think this is the. We always say, if I have this, then I'm going to be happy. Well, that's never going to be the case, right? You're going to have to be happy.
Right. I was not happy when the Cadillac was sitting in the garage. You're absolutely correct. Yeah.
Point number 6. Okay, so out of the 6 is holding your feet to the fire. Goals are not. One thing about goals, by the way, never just say them. Ink it, don't think it. Write them down.
Ink it, don't think it.
Yeah. So a buddy of mine in my BNI group, which is Business Networks International, is a motivational speaker, brand manager. He says that a lot. Ink it, don't think it. So I'm stealing it from him. The holding your feet to the fire. Leadership does not fulfill their promises and commitments. That's really, really something that happens a lot in businesses. So business office, you don't report to anyone as a small business owner. Even a CEO of a large corporation has a board of directors to report to. But as a business owner, you really don't have anyone to report to. So who's holding yourself to the fire? Cherie DeMeo is a great coach. She'll help you set the goals. She'll help you say whether they're relevant. She actually has a really nice process.
She'll pick up the whip and just beat you with it.
And I have been whipped. I have been beaten with it. But here's the deal. I also have my wife that helps me with this. I have friends. I have my own small little board of directors that come periodically check on me. You want to make sure that whatever type of goals that you say, you make it public. Everybody knows it, and people are going to ask you who are not. And if you can't afford a coach, find somebody who's willing to be a pain in your rear. Oftentimes it can't be a spouse or a friend. Because
it can't be. It can't be.
It's just too much of that going on. So those are the 6 things that, so 2 points for today, 6 in total. I want to talk to your listeners really quickly. In 2 weeks, we're going to talk about managing profit. If you can read the book Profit First, it'll be very helpful for that discussion.